Hey, it's Don, the Auction Professor here. Today we're going to talk about a few things. I'm going to talk about some other third-party apps. We're going to talk today about SellBright, which I'm actually going to start using here. We're going to take them up on their 14-day free trial. I'll talk about it just a little bit here. And there's another option too, Vendio, which has been around for a while. SellBright's been around for like 11 years. I'm not one to get involved in a company that's new with our business just because it's a risk factor. But SellBright's been around for a long time. Vendio has been around for a long time. I looked at cost, how the breakdowns work, and other factors to decide which I wanted to use. SellBright in the past has had some bad reviews from what I've read, but in the last couple years, all I can find are good reviews. So we're going to start doing that, actually. Let's pop over there and we're going to look at SellBright right now. Okay, so this is SellBright. It's a site, literally it's an app. It can integrate all of your sites that you sell on together. Now, we've been in the past, I've been limited on what we list across different platforms. Just because obviously it's hard to keep track. The platforms in the past, these third-party apps, weren't very good a few years ago, at least the ones that I looked into, or the price was like $1,000 plus for the amount of listings I had, so it made more sense to do it in-house. All the reports and people that I personally have talked to and actually seeing SellBright in action, it does seem to do what it says it does. It has some drawbacks and things, obviously, as anyone does. There's a 14-day free trial, so I'm going to try it out. I'll let you know what I think. It'll allow you to cross-list on Amazon, eBay, Etsy, Shopify, Shopify Plus. Those are the ones that I'm interested in. I may use Newegg at some point. I may throw in some Walmart listings as well. You can do it all. You can do FBA as well, too, on here, believe it or not. So, and it centralizes your printing of your invoices, so I could do several eBay stores from the one account without having to go into each one and do them separately. You can create one listing, or you can import your listings, say, from eBay, and then upload them from your actual SellBright account into Amazon. So that's what I'm looking to do, as well as Etsy, of course. We want to mass list everything we got across all the platforms instead of just being selective. This is one way to step up your business. I've looked into pricing. I've looked into the other services. Vendio is the other one that they offer. Now, the reason I'm picking SellBright is the price, so to speak, as well as their options. With Vendio, I would need the biggest option they have, plus possibly two of those, depending on how many, whether they count multi-item listings as one or not. It only goes up to $25,000 for $250, so it would be $500 basically if you wanted to do $50,000. It would be $750, so we're going back up towards the $1,000 mark, which is why I didn't do it. But with the actual SellBright, let's look at their pricing here. I'm going to go into more detail once we actually have it, and I'll talk about that at that point then some more. But now it goes by, and this is the one I'm going to start with right here, it goes by how many orders per month you have, so it could go up from there depending on how busy you get. I'm going to start with just a couple of things on here, a couple of different sites, and cross-list from there just to see how it works. So we're going to start off with the $149 plan, 500 orders. That means you're selling 500 items a month. I'll step it up to the other one, which is only $250, and that's orders. That's not actual items on there. That's actually amounts of items that you personally sell. There's actual annual billing as well, which will lower that cost even more. I'm going to start off with the 1 month or the free trial. If it does what it says, I will flip it over to annual billing if that's the case, and we'll just go from there. $124 to list everything across all your sites and to increase sales 300-400% possibly from what I've seen. It seems like it will be worth it. We're going to give it a shot. It's some money, not a whole bunch when you look at it this way, but when you think of labor, it's going to cut my labor costs down by hundreds if it does what it says it's going to do. Plus, for that same amount, I can actually get all of my listings on all the other platforms as well. The more you sell, obviously, the more you're going to have to go up. You got to spend money to make money, of course. I know that is strange to some people, but looking over this price-wise, effectiveness, the reviews. And I'm not looking at reviews from SellBright's reviews. I'm looking at reviews from leading online magazines and financial sites that actually judge sites' performances. And this rate's fairly high, 8 to 9 out of a 10 in most scales. Ones that beat it are ones that wouldn't be practical for me, or that do different functionality such as manufacturing and things like that. We do stuff like that, but it's smaller in-house stuff that we need to do here. There's no other outsourcing that we're going to do on that. So this seems to be the best stake in it. You can do as many channels as you want. You can have as many SKUs as you want and as many users as you want. So the only roadblock is your sales. Now on like Vendio, you're paying for listings whether they sell or not. So if you've got a bunch of listings up and they don't sell, let's say 1,000 listings up, that's a reasonable amount. You're going to be looking at $50 a month no matter what. I don't see any options for paying annually either. They do have special ones for over 25,000, but it's still not practical financially wise from what I personally see versus SellBright. Because you can sell 10,000 items. You might have to have 100,000 items up and have a 10% sell-through rate on items to sell 10,000 items a month. I don't sell 10,000 items a month. I know there are people that do, and I know somebody who does. So it's not a strange number, but at least for me, I can work my way up to a point if we're selling. And again, it counts every site you sell on as that total on here. So if across all your sites you're selling 1,000, you're going to have to move it up here to $200 or so a month. It may be worth the factor. It will also do the Shopify. So for me, having your own store on Shopify might be the factor there. You can, publish them out to Facebook and things like that as well. So, I mean, it gives you a lot of options. It creates a SKU for your items in SellBright. So from there, it knows all the formulas. It's integrated with all the platforms, so it can automatically propagate all of the actual item information from one platform to the other. So that's the key one that I'm looking for, as well as the fact that it'll kill a roadblock of mine instantly. I won't have a roadblock worrying of selling and having to spend the time to pull items down from one site when they sell. It'll automatically sync all of your items per the platforms that you are using. So, and I've looked into it very extensively. I watched a ton of videos. Anybody who watches the channel knows that I try to investigate something immensely, especially if I'm spending my money on it, which we are going to do. The Amazon, eBay, Etsy, and Shopify part are the key ones that I was looking for. Now, we do other platforms, no big deal. They're not as big of a selling platform as something like this would be. But I will show you our journey through here, show you what happens. I'll talk about the sales increases. I'll talk about their hub and some other factors in here, whether it's a fit for other people or not. If you're just starting off, obviously it's not going to be a feature that might be good for you. If you got a couple hundred items, maybe. If you got 1,000 or plus items, yes, I would say probably so. Have not used it yet. I'm not getting paid. I have no interest or stakes or any relationships whatsoever with SellBright, Vendio, or any of these companies. This was recommended to me by other sellers that I've talked to. After looking into it, it does look like it does what it says. So we're going to find out. We're going to hop back on over, and we're going to talk a little bit about some of the other sites and places you can sell at, and some of the factors and reasonings why I don't sell or may not sell on other platforms. So let's discuss a little bit, and I wrote these down here just so we don't mix up any numbers here. I looked at some of the other platforms. I get a lot of questions why I don't talk about other platforms and the selling options on there. A lot of the sites that I saw on are specific to niches, like a postcard site or a stamp site or a record site. So I don't go into great details on those because most people don't have enough inventory to make it practical for them to do it. Now, there are some other sites which we'll quickly address here by numbers, more than anything else. Let's just put out the big one here, Amazon. They get billion+ views a month to their site. That's huge. That's like the #1 in the market across the globe. I don't know of much else that would hit that in my realm that I would actually use and touch. There might be some other site from some foreign country that doesn't affect my selling, like Alibaba or something. I don't know what their counts get. I have no idea. I didn't look into it. It doesn't play into what I do. So another one, eBay, obviously, they get like 250 million or more overall views or viewership from like native traffic and things like that. Now, these numbers are like a combination of several sites I used just for a comparison. Their numbers may not be correct by a certain given amount, but the relationship to each other, the amount that one gets versus the other, is darn close. I found contradicting information, so I used the basis on that for these numbers here. So Amazon number 1, eBay number 2. Now, Poshmark. Poshmark gets 15-20 million views actually each month in this scale here. So they're smaller, but they're one of the better ones. Mercari gets like 5 million. Ruby Lane, it gets in the 1 million mark or so. And then you got Bonanza, which is into the millions as well too. Now, anything other than that, there might be like Cherish, I think is another one that I've heard about. And a couple other sites that are more specific to antiques and collectibles. They're in that same million mark or so from what I personally see. Now, again, these numbers might not be exact numbers or a scientific equation to get these numbers, but overall, the actual standpoint they rank is pretty darn close from what I see personally. So someone may contradict that, but from what I see, that's legit. Any of the other ones that I'm not mentioning, other than just a couple of the real big ones, are really small. I had some questions on some of these other sites and such forth. I see a lot of hype on Prairie Grit, and not to distinguish or cut in anybody, but from what I see, it's minuscule compared to even these ones we're talking about. Ruby Lane, for me, for the cost, I'm not going to do it. It's too expensive for the minimal amount of views I get. eBay just blows them out of the water in viewership. Viewership is what matters. If there's not traffic to the site, it's not of interest to me. Bonanza is one that I probably would do just because of its, basically no cost. You can bring stuff in without a cost. So Bonanza I might do. Mercari I've heard good things about, but it's a slow sell. And everybody I've talked to said the same thing who has quantity. They don't sell a lot. So I'm borderline on whether I'm going to mess with that at all. I'm going to try SellBright in pushing what I already have, pretty much instantly. I'll import everything from one platform and then up it to another platform or channel, as so to speak. So that's what I'm looking at. Poshmark is getting up there. Poshmark is a better platform for selling specifics like clothing, though. I tried it, didn't like it, we don't do it. Nothing against it. There's some money to be made. I don't want to do clothing. I don't want that, the hassle with it. I know there are return policies and such forth. You're going to have to weigh those options for your own business. But for me, Ruby Lane, too small, too specific. Semi-upscale. Again, no crack in it. I found stuff on there that we've personally bought. So nothing wrong with the site. Just for my personal business, it's not what I would be looking for. Mercari, yes, no. 50-50 on that one. Poshmark's a good platform, but again, I don't do clothing, so Poshmark's not for me. But I would recommend it personally. Bonanza, I'm going to recommend only because of the cost factor to get into it. If you can upload those on a CSV file or something, or a text file or something, it might be well worth it, even if you have a large inventory. So that's just a quick breakdown on those. Again, there's other factors involved. For me, I will not go into the other ones and use them. It won't be worth my time to try and master another site when I still have thousands of listings that I could get up on other platforms. For us, this is going to be our saving grace from what it looks like, SellBright. Hopefully, my fingers are crossed. I've got very high hopes that this will do what it's supposed to do. The whole issue here with your business is to get rid of bottlenecks. Where are your slowdown points? Where are you losing work? Why can't you grow? What's slowing your growth down? That's what you're looking for. So, being able to cross-list everything instead of just select items on at least 3 or 4 platforms would be key. So like Amazon, Etsy, eBay, and Shopify, all your items on all 4 of those platforms. It's going to increase your viewership. It's 3 more options to look at your items in other areas. So you've got your first source, and now I'm going to broadcast those same exact items across 3 instead of just cross-listing them, from one platform to another, to another, to another at the same time. It's a long, time-consuming process that way. If I can bulk upload them in thousands at a time, even if it's category by category, I'm fine with that. So, well, there you go. That's what I have for you today. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button down below. You can also hit the bell icon to be notified when I post new content or go live. Subscribe and tell a friend.